Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cats Noir is such a special franchise that has quickly become a classic for this generation. The story follows Marinette the Pang Chang and her double life as Ladybug, the maxed hero of Paris. Playing on themes of superheroes and complicated love squares that would hook just about anybody's interest, Miraculous Ladybug pays homage to its magical girl predecessors, like Sailor Moon, while it also feels something entirely unique. With 6 seasons, movies, and a comic series with many other side stories going on, there is a lot to unpack when it comes to the world powers and characters of Ladybug. But one consistent role that stands out in every form of media when it comes to Ladybug are the Kwamis. Before there were heroes, indestructible spandex, and Akumas fluttering around the streets of Paris, there were the Kwamis, ancient, eternal beings of power. In this video, we are going to go over what Kwamis are, their abilities, along with every single Kwami introduced to the Ladybug franchise. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe, it helps a lot, and let me know your thoughts down below if you would like to hear the entire story of Ladybug, or the timeline explained, or maybe even every single Ladybug Miraculous there were. Because there are a lot, and they go way back. So what are Kwamis exactly? Kwamis are tiny divine creatures that embody the universe's most powerful forces. These immortal, ageless creatures are said to predate humanity itself. A Kwami is formed whenever there is a new natural aspect, idea, concept, or emotion that comes into existence in the universe. They can literally come from the concept of anything, even math. Which makes me wonder if even the Kwami of math remembers the Pallagrium theorem. Since Kwamis can be based on anything like beauty or destruction, it stands to reason that there could also be created from strong emotions like love. But it is important to note that while some are created from powerful emotions, Kwamis of things like kindness and nastiness do not exist because no one is kind or nasty by nature. So what is the first concept? Well, that is creation itself. When the concept of creation was, well, created, the very first Kwami was born. 13.8 billion years ago, the Big Bang gave Tikki, the Kwami of creation, a corporeal form. Along with Tikki, the quantic universe was generated, and with it, an infinite multiverse of different universes and timelines. Every universe has its own version of every Kwami, but each respective Kwami has every memory of every timeline that they have lived in. They don't tend to bring this up to humans often because it's far too vast and confusing for us to understand very easily. And quite simply, there just isn't enough time in our lives to explain their infinite lives. Multiple Kwamis can be used at the same time by the same user as well, but it can be dangerous and harmful since it is a lot of power for one human body to hold. In fact, being a Miraculous user takes quite a toll on the body. The Kwamis even have a system in place for younger Miraculous holders so that they are not hurt by using their powers too much. That's why after Ladybug uses her Lucky Charm or Cat Noir uses his Cataclysm, they only have 5 minutes left before they transform back, while an adult holder is not placed under these single-use power limitations. Kwamis themselves are even able to make something called a Kwagatama. I hope I pronounced that correctly. A resin charm that comes from within them that they can give to their holders on special occasions as a testament of their bond. It sounds really magical and special until your little flying friend coughs up just so much spit into your hand and gives it to you. Thanks, Tikki. It has been said whoever wears both the Miraculous of creation and destruction will be able to call forth all Kwami and have one wish granted. But more on that later. And speaking of time, billions of years went by as the Kwamis traveled through the known universe and eventually they settled on Earth. Despite not being able to interact with 99.9% of all living things at the time, the Kwamis began to learn and understand how to use their powers, recognizing just how powerful they really were. Eventually, as humanity was on the rise, the Kwamis' cousins, the Ringlings, were created. But that could be a whole other video on itself. 5,000 years ago, a powerful mage discovered the Kwamis and created their Miraculouses, magical jewels kept inside the Miraculous box for storing the Kwamis. When a Miraculous is worn, not only does the wearer gain an incredible ability of the Kwamis inside, but the Kwamis also gain the abilities to occupy a physical body and be seen by normal living things, and not just mystically inclined. The Kwamis then began lending their power out to people through their Miraculouses to help keep Earth safe. From just fetching items to altering the very fabric of existence, time, and universe, the powers that we're going to be talking about today have some wild range to them. Moving on, the mage began passing on his Kwami knowledge and research to what would eventually be known as the Order of the Guardians, a group of people selected to protect and care for the Miraculous box and the Kwamis inside. They are led by a Master Guardian that is able to handpick worthy new heroes. The Miraculous box housing all the Miraculous would be stored in the Miraculous Temple where the Order would live. Unfortunately, almost 200 years ago, the Order fell because of young Master Fu's mistake in the trial that he took on. Fu took the Miraculous box and saved the Kwami, but lost the Temple, Spellbook, and his fellow members of the Order, along with the Butterfly and Peacock Miraculouses in the process. After the Miraculous Temple was destroyed, Master Fu would leave and continue protecting the Kwami. With all the information of the Kwami destroyed, except for whatever Master Fu was able to remember, knowledge of the Kwami faded into legend. Thus, jumping forward to the present, Paris is being tormented by an evil villain named Moth. He has obtained the Butterfly Miraculous and is using it to track down the Miraculous of creation and destruction so that he can make a wish. Master Fu must choose 2 new heroes to protect the world's balance by bestowing the power of the Miraculous of creation and destruction onto them. Ladybug and Cat Noir officially enter the scene as Marinette the Pang Chang and Adrien Crest. As the show progresses, we start to see more characters temporarily trusted with their own Miraculouses and the Kwamis they contain. Eventually, Marinette becomes the new guardian of the Miraculous box and helps choose heroes when Ladybug and Cat Noir need a bit of extra help, which gives us a first real look at other Kwamis besides Tikki and Plagg. So, who are all the Kwamis and what are their powers, and which ones have we not seen yet in this series? So, let's get into it, starting with the Chinese Miracle box, Tikki, the Kwami of creation. We all know that Tikki came from the creation of the universe. She is as old as time itself, with her being the first Kwami and the first that we meet in the show. With her being the first Kwami and the first that we meet in the show, it makes sense that she's the first one on our list today. Tikki is a small red creature with antennae and a large black spots resembling a ladybug. In her true form, she becomes more of a gigantic humanoid. Having 4 bug-like arms, human-like hands, wings, and lashes, she looks quite ethereal and almost godly in this form. Her Miraculous is obviously the Miraculous of the Ladybug, a pair of red stud earrings with 5 black polka dots on them, that also disappear when Ladybug uses Tikki's power, Lucky Charm. The power triggers a 5-minute cooldown when Ladybug transforms back to Marinette. The polka dots slowly disappear for every minute that goes by. But back to the Lucky Charm for a minute, or 5. Ladybug's Lucky Charm creates a mystery item out of thin air to help our heroes in whatever tight spot they might find themselves in. It often doesn't make sense right away, but Ladybug uses her powers of creativity to spot a way to use it. Now, most Miraculous holders really have only one superpower, but Ladybug is special. She gets another ability, the power to capture Akuma sent by Moth and de-evilize them. She does this by capturing them in her yo-yo and cleansing them. She is also able to use the Miraculous Ladybug, which fixes anything and anyone affected by the Akuma, resetting them to a state they were in before Moth sent out the Akuma. Ladybug even develops the power to make anti-Akuma magical charms made from the leftover magic in the Akuma to prevent re-akumatization of the victims of the Butterfly Miraculous. Tikki speaks every single language and speaks it fluently, just in case the next Ladybug happens to be from a different country. Throughout history, Tikki has been known to have many human partners, one even being Joan of Arc. But if you want to see me to go into detail of the history of every single Ladybug Miraculous, let me know down below and we could definitely make it happen. Master Fu and Tikki choose our main character, Marinette, as her holder. Wearing the Ladybug earrings allows the holder to become agile, a yo-yo slinging hero, Ladybug. As the embodiment of creation, she solves her problems through creativity, quite literally. Using her superpower Lucky Charm and given a usually puzzling item, and obviously using her yo-yo to beat up baddies and swing through the streets of Paris like Spider-Man. Like the other Kwamis, Tikki is able to float, phase through walls, hold physical items even though they might appear much larger and heavier than she is. Tikki also has an uncontrollable sweet tooth, so much so that when chocolate was invented, she went out of control and made a chocolate storm that lasted up to 8 weeks because she loved it so much. However, today she recharges on sweets from Marinette's family bakery, and is also able to make and create certain potions, graciously given to her in the form of delicious macaroons, to give her additional abilities like we talked about earlier. The Aqua Potion allows Aqua Tikki to hold her breath underwater and adds extra aquatic accessories to her suit like flippers and scales. Ice Potion gives Tikki a form known as Stalactiki, which gives Ladybug ice skates and a resistance to the cold. And the Space Potion lets Ladybug fly and survive in the vacuum of space. When Tikki uses her Lucky Charm without Ladybug, she can create anything she wants, even if it doesn't exist yet. It will, however, be huge, like too huge, like throws off gravity huge. She also needs help from her unlucky counterpart to destroy it if it doesn't go away on its own quickly enough. While Tikki is quite the kind and compassionate little bug, she's also a huge rule follower. She is very strict about the way Marinette operates as Ladybug, and is very adamant that her identity stays a secret. This of course is for the best, but leaves Marinette feeling alone sometimes. She often acts as the voice of reason to the young girl and pushes her to do the right thing, even if the right thing is choosing the safety of the world over her own needs. Tikki is incredibly responsible with her powers and doesn't use them for selfish reasons or personal gains like a certain black cat does. Although she has the knowledge of infinite lifetimes and the multiverse, there is a lot she doesn't understand when it comes to human beings, for example, surprise parties or sarcasm. It's kind of ironic that she knows so incredibly much about the universe but so little about this world. Next up is Plagg, the Kwami of Destruction, Tikki's unlucky counterpart, the literal yin to her yang. Plagg currently lives with Adrien, our deuteragonist. Plagg lets Adrien transform into the superhero cat Noir with the help of the black cat Miraculous, a black signet ring with a glowing green cat paw that blips away after Cat Noir uses his powers. Plagg is a small black Kwami with big green eyes like a mischievous cat, an obvious nod to the black cat, which is a famous symbol of bad luck. In the same way Tikki uses sweets to refill her energy, Plagg is known to refuel his energy with cheese. The smellier the better. Specifically, he loves camembert. Plagg can also eat potions to give Cat Noir additional abilities like Tikki. Also like Tikki, his true form, he has a crazy humanoid design, with an all-black body, 6 arms, 3 eyes, and wings that almost have a bat-like appearance. His body is separated at his joints, with the inside of his body showing more of the same glowing green light as his eyes. While Plagg may describe himself as carefree and easygoing, others may be inclined to describe him as lazy, overindulgent, or even just not that very helpful. He is said to be reckless and rebellious without an owner to keep him in line. Although he has this chaotic and not so great track record, Plagg is very serious about the mission to defeat Moth, even if he does make a lot of mistakes along the way. While Tikki understands the rules and responsibilities of being in the world with humans, Plagg enjoys meddling in the human world and being more of a prankster than a gifted partner. Even though he is notorious for being silly and impulsive, Plagg has some very good qualities to him as well. He is a very good judge of character, often seeing through people that are fake with Adrien, like Chloe or Gabriel. And it's obvious that he cares about his partner very much. He acts tough, but he can be a quite loving little kitty once he warms up to you. Being connected to the cat Miraculous, he could transform his wielder into Cat Noir, lending him the power of his cataclysm, the ultimate power of destruction. With just one touch, Cat Noir can disintegrate, erode, and decompose anything. When Plagg uses cataclysm himself, it can be exponentially more catastrophic. In the past, he has caused the Tower of Pisa to lean, the city of Atlantis to sink, and the extinction of both dragons and dinosaurs. He is quite simply the vessel of chaos. Again, like a real cat. Cat Noir also has access to a baton that is able to shrink and grow to help him get around Paris while also doing some huge hits onto his enemies. Although his powers of destruction may seem limitless, his control over it is a different story. When natural disasters occur, like a volcano erupting, Plagg is the first one to say that he didn't even use cataclysm, implying that at some point in the past his powers have led to some pretty powerful natural disasters. But now, thankfully to the world, he has learned some restraint over his powers. We meet this next Kwami before we even know it, Nooroo, the Kwami of Transmission. They are tied to the Butterfly Miraculous, a purple locket brooch with lilac-colored butterfly wings that lets its holder transform into Moth. Nooroo is a small purple creature with purple moth wings and a spiral on its forehead. Nooroo, like Tikki, is very knowledgeable and empathetic towards his fellow Kwamis. He tends to be very trusting, a trait which got him into trouble with Gabriel, the former keeper of his Miraculous. When used properly, Nooroo lends his power of kamikazation, a power that plays on the positive emotions of others to help create superheroes via Moth Kamiko. The Kamiko are butterflies turned mystical by the Butterfly Miraculous's power that are then sent to inhabit objects to be used by the hero-to-be, and create a communicative and occasionally controlling channel between Moth and their recruiters, as they make a deal with them. However, we know that this is not how Nooroo is being used in the show. Gabriel puts a poor little Kwami through hell by forcing him to do things for his evil bidding, using his powers of akumatization instead of the kamikotozation. basically flipping Nooroo's script and preying on people's negative emotions to create villains to terrorize Paris with the Akuma. They can be defeated by breaking the object they have taken over, thus releasing the Akuma and being purified by Ladybug, or by the rationalization of the victim and getting them to calm down, although that is not always the feat. If Ladybug fails to de-evilize an Akuma, it can return to Moth and reside in its cane, the tool provided by his Miraculous to store it until the akumatized person's emotions arise again. Unfortunately, after being freed by Gabriel, Nooroo found an even harsher fate and being trapped and used by Cerise, who really pushes Nooroo's powers to its new length. In fact, the Butterfly Miraculous is probably the one we see the most power development from as the show progresses. We see the Akumas evolve into Mega Akumas, then Ultra Akumas, which are capable of firing miraculous hidden beams called Anti-Akumas. Also, remember when I mentioned that there were alternate universes and alternate Kwamis to those universes? We actually get to see Tikki, Plagg, and Nooroo from the Reverse universe briefly as well. Tikki and Plagg are being used by an evil Ladybug in Cat Noir in this universe called Shadybug and Claw Noir. A villain called the Supreme gave them their Miraculouses in this universe. The Supreme actually has a monopoly over the Miraculous here, potentially telling us that this is the universe where the Order of the Guardians has fallen apart for real, or potentially even evil themselves. We actually don't get to see an awful lot of information about the Reverse universe, other than that it's, well, all reversed. And if Ladybug and Cat Noir are the bad guys, that obviously means that Moth is the good guy in this universe. Operating under the name Butterfly, Gabriel Grest is the hero of Paris. The Supreme actually sealed Tikki and Plagg's mouth in this universe, making them unable to speak, aka unable to tell Adrien and Marinette that they're able to do good, that they can fight back, and most importantly, that they can fuse their Miraculouses to make a wish. Nooroo being the only Kwami that is not in captivity. At least he gets to be free in that universe. But from one of the most heartbreaking stories to something ways more lighthearted. We have Wayzz, the Kwami of Protection. Connected to the Turtle Miraculous, Wayzz has green skin, an antenna, and a turtle shell on its back. He gives the wearer the ability to turn into the secret 5th Ninja Turtle. Carabase. Although he trusts the wisdom of Master Fu, Wayzz has a bit of an anxious streak when it comes to risk-taking and protecting the Miraculous. Wayzz has a close bond to Master Fu, always working very closely to him, and he is always first to know when something goes wrong. Since he is always with Fu, Wayzz remains outside of his Miraculous most of the time. He worries about the old man often, and as Master Fu seems to think that he is still in his prime, and occasionally tries to do things like transforming despite his age. Wayz's nerves are often just out of concern for Fu's health and well-being, but thankfully, Ladybug takes Wayz's Miraculouses and hands it off to Nino, a much more age-appropriate and fit for a superhero. The Turtle Miraculous is a bracelet mimicking the shape of a turtle shell. It lets Nino use Wayz's power Shelter, which uses Carapace's nearly indestructible shell as a shield, to manifest a force field to protect his allies. Often noticing when Miraculouses is being used for evil, like Nooroo when he was being used by Moth, showing that he also has a strong connection with his fellow Kwamis. Wayzz isn't always all business. He has a funny side, especially when getting to know Nino. He even jokes that Marinette should have been given the Kwami of tardiness. He often sleeps in a matchbox when he is outside of his Miraculous, which is just adorable. Now, moving on to Trixx, the Kwami of Illusion. This Kwami really resembles the animal the Miraculous pays homage to, maybe more than the others so far. Trixx has a bushy tail bigger than its body, long ears, fur, and the color pattern just like a fox. Trixx is cunning, conniving, sneaky, and mysterious, a great fit for his powers of illusion. From reading through Marinette's diary to creating the myth of the Loch Ness Monster with his illusions, Trixx is definitely the Kwami to keep your eye on. But he isn't just a troublemaker. Trixx is caring and shows concern with his owner. He is level-headed and able to give advice to people who need it, without being mean or harsh. He can come off as a bit possessive to his owners, not liking the idea of his owners using other Miraculouses. After changing owners a few times, the Fox Miraculous eventually landed in the safe hands of Alia, letting her transform into Reena Rouge. Trixx's Miraculous is a segmented necklace with a foxtail pendant that counts down after Trixx's power, Mirage, is used. Mirage creates an orange ball of energy that lets Reena Rouge generate extremely real-feeling illusions to trick its foes. To summon this power, she simply plays her flute. In the past, Trixx was owned by Huli, a Chinese hero from the past who wielded a long flute much like Reena Rouge does in the present. On X, someone asked the co-writer and director of Ladybug, Thomas Astruc, if the folkloric Pied Piper was also a Miraculous holder because of, well, the flute thing obviously, which he replied, why not? Which is a good enough answer for the fandom. Moving forward to the Kwami that is quite the buzz around her, Pollen, the Kwami of action. They are connected to the Bee Miraculous. Pollen has yellow skin and antennae and black stripes on her head, with a little scruff around her neck. She is formal and polite, even addressing Tikki and Plagg as the noble Kwamis of creation and destruction, which, I mean, let's turn it down a notch. This is Plagg. She is very obedient, almost submissive, but this doesn't stop her from speaking her mind. For example, telling Chloe not to use her powers for evil, which, I mean, Chloe being Chloe, I think even the kindest of Kwamis wouldn't hesitate to go off on her. Much like a bee who is devoted to its queen, Pollen is very loyal to her user. Currently, she is held by Chloe's half-sister to become Vasperia, but she also used to be owned by Chloe as Queen Bee. She has never quite really gotten over Chloe's betrayal. The Bee Miraculous is a wide-toothed golden hair comb with a bee on it, and Pollen's weapon is a bee-patterned spinning top that works like a yo-yo. While Pollen is the Kwami of action, her power Venom is more of a force in action, giving the holder the ability to immobilize their opponents. The Bee Miraculous giveth action, and the Bee Miraculous taketh action away. It sort of fits with the singing vibe, maybe. I guess it is hard to give someone the power of action. For example, you could take over them like puppets, but that's kind of branching into Moth's territory at that point. Next we have Duzu, the Kwami of emotion. Duzu is connected to the Peacock Miraculous, a brooch with 5 blue peacock feathers spread out into a fan. Duzu has blue skin and long peacock feather tails. Being the Kwami of emotion, it's no doubt that they would go through some ups and downs. Duzu can be happy one moment and then sad the next, although this hot and cold behavior is because of their Miraculous being broken. Before the Miraculous was fixed, Duzu was shown to almost enjoy chaos, only showing concern when it came to their previous holder Natalie's health. Duzu's Miraculous has since been fixed, but their scatterbrained actions and ranging emotions can still slip through sometimes. When Duzu's power is transformed, they gain the power of Amokization. Much like Akumatization, Amokization creates a feather from Agro's Mayor's hand fan, charging it with energy to create an Amok. Much like an Akuma, Amok fuses itself with a person's special item to mix with their strong emotions, transforming them into a Senti monster. Now we're actually getting into the Chinese Zodiac Miraculouses. We're gonna go in order of their place in the 12-year cycle, starting with the Kwami of multiplication, Mulo. Based on the first animal of the Chinese zodiac, Mulu takes the form of a small mouse, with big round ears, long whiskers, and a cute little pair of buck teeth. Proportionally, Mulu doesn't look much different from a normal mouse, but don't be fooled. This Kwami is just as strong as the rest of them. This little mouse is fun, silly, and mischievous. She likes scaring people, which makes her a great matchup for the ever-frightened partner Maylene, whose courage has grown leaps and bounds across the show's several seasons. Mulu's Miraculous is a necklace with a coin pendant on it with 5 little mice. These 5 little mice around the border represent the 5-minute countdown. It lets the holder transform into Polymouse, a superhero with the ability to create clones and divide and multiply themselves across the battlefield with the superpower Multitude. The clones can even be cloned, but each set of divisions ends up with one smaller than the last. They all function on sort of a hive mind and can be recalled at any time regardless of their distance to Polymouse. And Mulo's mystery mouse tool is a jump rope. Second in the cycle is the Kwami of Determination, Stomp. Stomp is a blue Kwami with large, curved horns spouting out of his head. He represents the Ox Miraculous, which is a spiked spectrum ring worn by Ivan to transform him into the superhero Minotaurus. Stomp is very strong and keeps very strong company. That doesn't mean that you can be a jerk though. Stomp loves it when he uses his strength to help people, and that makes himself and Ivan the perfect pair. Minotaurus uses a mallet for battle. He can smash right through anything he hits if he hits it hard enough. The superpower that Stomp lends to his Miraculous holder is Resistance. It gives Minotaurus immunity from other Miraculous attacks and nullifies their power when used against him. It arguably is a better shield than Wayzz because it once fended off Cat Noir's Cataclysm. While most Kwamis look very similar to their real-life counterparts, the Kwami of Elation, Roar, actually looks quite different from hers, thanks to her special magenta coloring of hers. She has whiskers, little round ears, dark stripe patterns on her body, face, and tail. She is bold, fearless, and loud, and she often has a soft spot for good art. She hates it when people are irresponsibly rash and disrespectful. Roar is the Kwami of the Tiger Miraculous. And Panja's bracelet is worn by Julika to help her transform into the superhero Purple tigress. The bracelet has 4 chains coming out of the magenta jewelry that rests on the back of the hand. The chains all lead to a respective ring on each finger. Its countdown is signified by a 5-segmented disappearing paw print on the gem, similar to Cat Noir's. In battle, Purple Tigress uses a bolus, a crimson string that carries 3 weighted balls for whacking Akumas unto next week. Roar also gives Purple Tigress the ability to use Clout, which generates the power from a shockwave-induced punch. Purple Tigress is here for one thing and one thing only. Absolutely crazy bonks. The 4th spot on the Zodiac goes to Fluff, the Kwami of Evolution. Fluff takes the form of a rabbit with a white body, buck teeth, and long ears with blue accents, thus matching her eyes, and a cute little fluffy rabbit tail. Fluff is energetic and easily spooked. She is easily confused as a result of her powers being time travel. I mean, just imagine being alive for as long as she has, having the memories of every life you've lived, including the multiverse, and now add on top of that, time scrambling that comes with jumping back and forwards through time. It's no wonder that Fluff has trouble keeping track of everything. Her disorientation is also likely in reference to the obvious Alice in Wonderland illusion, a scatterbrained white rabbit with ties to time, and the rabbit Miraculous even being a pocket watch. Fluff lends her powers to her partner Alex, who becomes the superhero Bunnyx, who uses the versatile umbrella as a weapon. It can be swung or thrusted offensively, or even open to be used as a shield or a parachute. Bunnyx's superpower is Burrow. This opens a pocket dimension to the center of time itself, allowing her to go to any point, past, present, or future. Anywhere in the world, Bunnyx is OP. Now, there are of course obvious time travel complications that come with this power. I'm sure that Bunnyx goes through quite a bit of trouble trying to avoid temporal anomalies and disruptions in the timeline due to any snowballing butterfly effects. Plus, she has to be extremely locked in, or else she may end up somewhere or sometime totally randomly. But it seems like Bunnyx is only really called into play as a last resort, like a Ladybug and Cat Noir have failed, please come save our souls type of last resort. Anyways, a personal favorite of mine, Long, the Kwami of Perfection. And judging by the mispronunciations of this video I've probably done, I definitely don't have this one. Long is the Dragon Miraculous, in red in color and reptilian eyes, dragonic spikes coming out of their head. Her long whiskers and tail add to her mystical vibe. Uniquely, she is the only Kwami out of the Chinese Miracle Box that is based on a mythological creature, rather than just a naturally occurring one. Long is currently in the hands of another personal favorite of mine, Kagami. Both of these feel like a great match to me, as they both can be very formal and they come off as very majestic and dignified, which makes sense for the representation of the complete concept of perfection. The Dragon Miraculous is a choker that has a large bead pendant that also goes towards this feeling of dignified. She is also patient and level-headed when it comes to action. She allows her wielder to transform into the dragon-themed superhero Ryuko, who has the power to control 3 elements: water, wind, and lightning. She is basically 3/4 of the Avatar. On top of that, Ryuko can transform into these 3 elements. After all 3 elements have been used, however, Long's 5-minute countdown will begin, signified by the disappearing red lines on the Miraculous. Oh, also, if you go back in time long enough, you will see that Long's previous wielders are Ha Mulan of ancient China, but you know, it could have been any Mulan. The 6th spot goes to Sass, the Kwami of Intuition. Sass is a turquoise cobra-headed Kwami with bright yellow eyes, fangs, and a long tail. Despite being the Kwami of the Snake Miraculous, he does still have arms and legs. He is wise, responsible, and obviously has killer intuition, a combo that is made for his fellow Kwamis to look up to. He is often the Kwami to step up when things go wrong, and the rest of the Kwamis trust him to make the right decisions for them. The Miraculous of the Snake is a turquoise Ouroboros bracelet. The head of the snake slides back when Sass's power is used, revealing a forked snake tongue split into 5 sections for its countdown. Sass originally partnered up with Adrien for a short time, being the superhero Aspic, before being paired with Luca indefinitely to become the hero Viperion. Viperion is fast with heightened senses and infrared vision. He wields a lyre as his weapon and often uses it to make music that distracts his enemy. The power that Sass grants to his Miraculous holder is called Second Chance. It allows the user to go back in time anywhere up to 5 minutes ago. And whenever it's used, an alternate timeline is created for that moment that is marked. Sass on his own can be used to go back to any previous mark point, although it screws up clocks and makes weird time overlaps. Sometimes it results in things from the past ending up in the present, so it's not exactly a first resort. Fun fact, Adrien has actually used Sass's power Second Chance 25,913 times in the episode Desperata. 7th in the zodiac cycle is Kaalki, a Kwami of migration. Kaalki is a brown-white Kwami that represents the horse Miraculous. She has green eyes and a mane of tail on top of her head, as well as a long tail and hoof-shaped hands and feet. Her respective Miraculous is a pair of old-fashioned pince-nez glasses, oh god, I hate French, that sport 5 glowing dots along the bottom of one of the lenses that act as their 5-minute cooldown. Kaalki is eloquent and dignified. She holds herself in high standards and speaks and acts very properly. With her powers, Max can transform into the superhero Pegasus. Pegasus has access to Kaalki's horseshoe as a weapon, and uses it offensively almost like a boomerang. Pegasus is also able to make use of Voyage, Kaalki's superpower of teleportation. Voyage works by creating a portal that can teleport someone or something to anywhere the user chooses, even if that somewhere is space. This power is pretty cool. I mean, you can move entire buildings, deflect attacks by teleporting them somewhere else, and reach through a portal and grab a snack whenever you don't want to leave the couch. The possibilities are truly endless. Number 8 on the zodiac is Ziggy, the Kwami of passion. Ziggy has little horns and goat ears with gray spots and patterns across her body. She is tied to the goat Miraculous, and as the Kwami of passion, she is very emotional. Often feeling things very intensely, she is often easily very moved by things and cries quite easily. This weepy Kwami teams up with Nathaniel to become the superhero Caprikid. The goat Miraculous is a pair of hair clips that resemble horns. They each have 5 segments on them for their eventual countdown. They help give Nathaniel the power to draw anything into existence, kind of like Scribblenauts, if anybody remembers that game. Chalk Zone? Anybody else showing their age? Caprikid's weapon is very fittingly a paintbrush. It is almost as tall as Nathaniel and can be used to attack and defend as well as paint. The perfect weapon for a passionate artist. Next is Xuppu, the Kwami of Derision. Xuppu is light brown with a yellow face. He has very large round ears and a long tail like a monkey. He enjoys bananas and mocking or making fun of people. He is quite talkative and often acts as if he is smarter than others, like when we saw him consistently correcting and explaining Eriko's power to Moth. Xuppu's Miraculous is a circlet that transforms Les Shakim into King Monkey. The circlet and superhero name are most definitely references to the story of the Monkey King. In fact, Sun Wukong, the Monkey King from legend, was the previous holder of the Monkey Miraculous. The circlet is a gold band that goes around the user's head with 5 gold bands along the side indicating its timer. The circlet can be folded up like glasses and stored, which is kind of neat. The Monkey Miraculous grants King Monkey some crazy abilities, including being able to run on all 4s and the use of the Ryojingobang, a staff used by King Monkey, as well as the power gifted by Xuppu, Uproar. Uproar summons a children's toy at random that, when touched, disrupts anybody else's powers. It can be pretty hard to maneuver since the toy does have to make physical contact with the other person, but hey, as long as you've got some decent aim, I think you'll be alright. Orco is the Kwami of Pretension and has the appearance of a rooster. With vibrant orange skin and eyes, a yellow beak, and a rooster-like plumage on his head and tail, his Miraculous tool is a fountain pen that can be used as a weapon or to write out its user's desired power. But more on that in a second. Orco, much like a rooster, is very flamboyant and proud. Pretentious even, often getting offended easily when prodded. He seems to be quite full of himself but gets along with the rest of the Kwamis just fine. The Rooster Miraculous that he accompanies is a segmented armor thumb ring that grows a rooster's talon when he powers up to fight as Rooster Bold. It has 5 striped pieces running along the side of the ring indicating its countdown timer. Orca's power sublimation is an interesting one, even though there are a lot of stipulations to it. It can grant its holder any ability and power so long as that ability is not already another Kwami's. Since there is 1 Kwami per concept, it cannot disrupt any other Kwami's powers, including revealing the identity of the Kwami's holder. And that user has to ask for a power it is not granted, like wishes. To use an example from the episode Destruction, Tikki, the Kwami of creation, if you wanted to use Orco to give yourself the power of creation as well, it wouldn't be creation but instead a replication. If that makes sense? But moving on to our second to last Zodiac member, Barkk, the Kwami of Adoration. Barkk takes the form of what appears to be a beagle, a orangey brown and white coat with a bright blue puppy dog eyes. This Kwami is ready to be man's best friend. She is loyal, obedient, and playful, much like a puppy. Currently, Sabrina wears the dog Miraculous, very fitting with both of their well, very obedient and loyal personalities. The dog Miraculous taking the shape of a collar necklace, Sabrina is able to transform into Miss Hound to help her fellow superheroes. Sabrina, much like a puppy, is truly a great fit for the Kwami of Adoration. Sabrina follows Chloe around a huge portion of the show and shows her unconditional love and respect regardless of her treatment. She truly does adore the girl in a way that really mirrors that of the faithful dog and its owner. The dog Miraculous is a collar with an open front. On either end of the opening there is a sculptured dog head. And there are 5 orange beads on the back of the necklace to indicate the 5-minute cooldown after using the power Fetch. And the power does exactly what it sounds like, it fetches. Miss Hound uses her powers in tandem with her Miraculous tool, a ball, to bring faraway objects near. First, she has to throw the ball to the fetchy in question, and once the ball has made contact with whatever Miss Hound wants to fetch, she can call it back to her at any time, at any distance. And the 12th and final Chinese zodiac member is the Kwami of Jubilation, Daisy. Daisy is a Kwami that represents the pig of the Chinese zodiac. He has large floppy pig ears, a snout, and a dark spot that covers up one of his pink eyes, followed by a spirally tail. The Miraculous tool that he summons is a pink tambourine that Rouge uses, very fitting for someone musical enough to be the lead singer of the Kitty Selection, which could be renamed to Piggy Selection now? The Pig Miraculous is a beaded pearl anklet that sprouts 5 orbs that indicate its cooldown mechanism. Daisy loves all things cute. In fact, he is drawn to his owner simply because she is cute. Daisy and Rose team up to create the superhero Pigella, and Pigella's power is Gift, and it gives her the ability to summon a gift box and show the target their deepest wishes, trapping them in their blissed out state. However, they can be snapped out of it by things in their surrounding like loud noises and sudden movements. Think of an alarm clock waking you up from a wonderful dream. It has definitely a very disorienting power, and unfortunately, sometimes the crash from the high of the glimpse of happiness being shown can cause a lot of confusion or negative feelings afterwards. And if you think we're done talking about Kwamis, don't worry, we're not done yet. We still got the Native American Miracle box to cover, and the special bonus Kwami that we've skirted around a few times in this video. Starting with the Native American Miracle box, one of my personal favorites, there are a few confirmed Miraculouses that are inside the box, like Bear, Wolf, Bison, and the Thunderbird. We don't really get to see or have information on any of these at the time. We do, however, get to meet Leary, the Kwami of Freedom. Leary has a black and gray body with eagle feathers and its tuft on his head and tail, and has a yellow beak and dark eyes. Leary inhabits the Eagle Miraculous and lets his partner Jessica transform into the superhero Eagle. Leary's Eagle Miraculous is made to look like an eagle talon. Jessica uses Bull Roar as a weapon, and the power she gets from Leary is called Liberation. This power is used to liberate its target from anything mentally or emotionally that may be holding them back. This basically lets their target lock in and be the best version of themselves as they can be performance-wise. While this may sound like a very easy cheat code to success, it may come at some uncomfortable price. For example, the thing holding you back may be your own personal ethics, or the fear of hurting yourself or the people around you. Thankfully, this Miraculous is in good, responsible hands. And the final Kwami is probably the coolest and strongest we've seen so far. We've already seen Ladybug fuse with other Kwamis in the show, but this last Kwami is something special, something mythical. Gimme, the Kwami of Reality. This is a love child of creation and destruction, the fusion of Tikki and Plagg. Gimme can materialize or demolish anything and everything, which makes them the perfect being to grant any wish. Unlike all the other Kwamis, Gimme is huge. This neon pink Kwami has glowing turquoise eyes and several wings. They like to chat and are often disappointed that humans only ever summon them to have their wishes granted. But like, they're gonna grant you any wish. Have, maybe take them out for tea first or talk for a little bit. Summoning this Kwami transports you into what seems like a subspace or pocket dimension where you can be undisturbed while you make your wish. As mentioned before, they have the power to grant any wish, even if it rewrites an entire timeline or even a universe. No wonder it's so difficult and dangerous to summon them. But with that, I leave you with every single Kwami explained. If I have mispronounced something because I don't know French or Chinese, or just bad at English, let me know down below, or if I've missed anything, please also let me know down below. Leave a like and subscribe for the channel for more, and it really helps the channel keep going and make super cool videos like this one. If there are any other Miraculous videos or any other series you want to see talked about, let me know down below. Thanks again for watching today's video, and I will see you guys next time.